Be blessed, be great, be you. Family, welcome to another edition of The Father Fam on The Father Fam YouTube channel. Man, family, it has been it has been a some time since I've been in front of you guys, man. But what I will say, y'all, look, it's been a lot going on. All right, it's been a lot going on my end that I gotta catch y'all up on. All right, I gotta catch y'all up on. So we're gonna try to chip away at it. I'm gonna catch y'all up video by video. Um, what's been going on with me? I mean, been going on with the family? We're gonna get back into some things this year, 2022, y'all. um, we still got a lot going on in our world, so when I know we all trying to make sense of everything still. So let's just get into some things, all right? Like I told you guys, been going through a lot. Been going through a lot the past couple of months. My wife just birthed our second child. Just birthed our second child into this world. So Soraya Michelle Stevenson, love you. So this is my first video as a father of two, y'all. As a father of two. So yeah, man. Born on January 6th, 2022. So you guys already know, 202 life. You already know me and wife got a lot of stuff going on, all right? So but like I said, we'll get into that. If you have not yet, hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also share this video. We want to get it out to as many people as we possibly can. All right. Now, in this video, I'm gonna just talk about my first year of fatherhood. All right. Just certain things that I went through in the first year. Uh, you know, in 2020, November, my son was born, and I never did a video. I never did a video of my first year of fatherhood, like what I went through in my first year. So we gonna do it right now. We gonna do it right now. Going back, rewinding back to November 14th, 2020, the day that I became a father. How I felt in that moment, undescribable. All right, I'll start off by saying that it was just an undescribable feeling. People talk about love at first sight. Definitely love at first sight. You know, to see him for the first time, you know, it was just a blessing, and it was just that moment, you know, that I always cherish for the rest of my life. One of the best days of my life. Seeing my firstborn come into the world and just seeing him open his eyes and things for the first time, just undescribable feeling. All right. But yeah, you know, once that happened, and you know, we get to hold them and all that stuff for the first time, it starts to hit you. You know, like I'm actually a parent out here now. I'm actually a parent, and then changing the diaper for the first time, feeding them. You know, I was just adjusting in the moment, going with the flow. I remember when the nurse had me change them for the first time, and I'm sitting there trying to act like I know what I'm doing, but I really didn't know what I was doing. Those moments, man, definitely special moments. But also going into when we went home, when me and my wife went home, we didn't leave the hospital going home with our son. Our son was in NICU for about 10 days. So that was a tough situation in itself. In that moment, you know, not being able to leave the hospital with your child. So that was a rough moment for us. But we were going up there every day, seeing them until we was able to bring him home. But then once we finally was able to bring him home, I feel like that was when the real work started right there. The real work, because you didn't really have the help of the nurses and things like that. Once you took him home, so it was that was a great moment right there. Putting him in his clothes, putting him in the car seat for the first time, getting him in the car, driving like 30 miles, 25, 30 miles an hour, getting home, making sure you ain't getting no car accident, things like that, man. It was a great moment as well. But then when you get home, like I said, the real work starts. And it's pretty much like how a lot of people say, when you finally become a parent, you're gonna be sleep deprived. There's gonna be stressful moments. There's certain things you deal with, and then as a father, there's a lot of things you're dealing with, your child, but then you're also dealing with your significant other as a husband and a father. Knowing that my wife is going through things, her body is trying to get back to the way it was. So understanding that she had to get right, especially for the women that have C sections. My wife, she had a C section as well. So the recovery is a little bit different, and then even after that, dealing with you know, postpartum, all the different emotions that women go through. We got to deal with that and be understanding. With those certain things, and so so with little man being sleep deprived, making sure I'm there for my wife, we was both losing sleep. And that's what comes with it. We've heard a lot of parents say, you're gonna be sleep deprived, you're not gonna get much sleep. So going into that, we knew that that was gonna happen, and it did. For me, she was pumping at the time, so I'm helping, with feeding, burping, changing diapers. We kind of switching it up. We had to get into a rhythm first. We was and still, you're talking about on and off, probably getting like an hour of sleep at times, like hour, 2 hours here and there in between time. So it was that was a lot of it took a lot of adjusting when he came home. Uh, but the first 7 weeks was cool, was okay for me, because I mean we both was blessed to have maternity leave. We both was blessed to have maternity leave, so um, to be able to be home, I was able to take off for 7 weeks. My wife was out for about 3 months, so we was blessed to be able to do that. But so it was still a lot of work in that time I was home. But then it was like levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm at home. I'm able to help as much as I can. But then when I finally had to go back to work, that was a whole nother adjustment in my first year as becoming a father. So when I went back to work, me going to work, getting up early, going, and then coming back home, and then having to be a dad, having to be a father, that took a lot out of me as well. So I had to adjust from that standpoint. And my wife was still home, still doing the thing, but then knowing I gotta give her a break when I get home, uh, and take over and to take care of our son. So that was an adjustment as well, for me and for my wife as well, because she had to take over things when I was back at work. So that was the second level. And then my wife ended up going back to work, and that was a whole nother level of that we had to adjust to, because now we're both at work, and we had to think about, okay, where we was gonna, if we gonna put little man in daycare, or we gonna have one of the grandparents watch him here and there. And shout out to our my mother-in-law. She was a major help for us. My mom was too. My mother-in-law, she did a lot with helping us out when my wife had to go back to work with taking care of the kids, and then my mom stepped in here because my mom was working. My mom was working too, and she was helping us as well. But big shout out to both of my mother and my mother-in-law. They helped us a lot when we went back to work. So we had to adjust for that. Going back and forth. Mother-in-law's house, my mom's house. We made it work somehow, some way. We made it work, but it was a big adjustment for us, going back to work, and then coming home, and then trying to be parents at home, and and making sure that we were doing the best we could to to be in our son's life too, because it was like going back. It was like, okay, he's not around us as much, when we was just at home. don't get me wrong. There were some days where I was like, all right, like all right, sometimes you need that break. You need that break. So sometimes I'll be like, all right, I'll go to work, and then I'm like, all right, I get a little break from being the father. I'm just saying, I'm keeping it real. We're gonna keep it real as a father fan. Sometimes you have this moment. Then at times, but I say majority of the times, um, it was I miss a little man. I missed him because and you want to make sure that you're doing a lot more with him when when you are with him. So just the time of just coming home from work and then trying to spend that time, big adjustment. All right. So we was dealing with that, and then it was like when my wife went back to work. My wife went back at like I want to say February or something like that, or March, and then you know 2 months 2 months into my wife going back, she finds out that we pregnant again with the baby number two. And I'm not gonna get too much into that, y'all. We're not gonna get too much into. We'll have a video for that. But my son, this was part of that year of fatherhood, that first year, right? So I didn't find out. I didn't find out my wife was pregnant. She told me like the day before Father's Day. Um, so she was going through that stuff. She was going through those pregnancy symptoms as well, and I had no idea what was going on. Um, uh, but we were still taking care of little man, and then seeing him starting to develop a little bit more. Him starting to say, dad, dad, mama, baba, all that other stuff. You already know the baby talk. Him starting to do that, trying, just grabbing more things, crawling, getting into more stuff. Y'all parents, y'all already know it. Y'all know how it goes. Like just touching any cord, toys, all that other stuff, man. So now you got a kid that's moving around, getting into stuff now. So having to adjust to that. Just all right now he getting into stuff. You gotta look at him. Hey, don't touch that. Don't do this. No, no. And it's like no is yes to them. It's like no is yes to them sometimes. Cause they say you say no, they still trying to do stuff, but they still trying to understand too as well. So you gotta be understanding. Um, but yeah, so just seeing his development, man, it's just been it's been great. It's been great. I feel like that first year just went by crazy, crazy quick. Like felt like um, I felt like I had changed his first diaper to now we celebrating. We at my parents' house celebrating his first year birthday party. Like where he got his little cocoa melon overalls on. I mean, maybe I'll probably put it in the video. Y'all see what I'm talking about. Just that time went by. So that time went by quick, man. The time went by quick. And like you already know, I've said in plenty of videos before, y'all. Just in the process of that, make sure you guys are taking a lot of pictures, man. Make sure you're taking a lot of video, um, so you can look back at the memories because like I've always said, they grow up so fast. And Kyson, he grew up quick, man. He grew up quick. He's still growing, and now he's getting into more stuff. So I gotta correct him a little bit more. I gotta be a little bit more firm, in certain things. Like, hey, man, don't touch that. So he's starting to understand a lot more, though. He's starting to understand a lot more, man. In the first year, and I say, man, it's been a blessing. It's been great. Like it's been ups, it's been downs, but me and my wife, we've been able to get through it all, and now we've got baby number two, and we're gonna get through that as well. We're gonna get through that as well. It's a blessing to be a father, a blessing to be able to have kids as well, because there are people out here that are still trying, and to be able to be a father, um, and for God to be able to bless me with that title, I don't take it for granted. All right, um, so yeah, that first year went by so fast, but like I said, the developments from being at the hospital to going home, being on maternity leave, then going back to work, having to adjust there, and and then the wife going back to work. So now we both at work, worrying about daycare, things like that, and then seeing him crawl, walk, start to try to talk back, talk to us on the things that he wants and things like that, and his just the communication level that you see developing in the first year is just amazing. And then, like I said, this then finding out number two was on the way as well. Um, so yeah, it's a lot. But there were some things that I've learned along the way as well. All right, a lot of things that I've learned, um, and and a lot of them are ones that that we've all dealt with, which is just like I said, the adjusting. There's a lot of adjustment periods. It's not just um, the first month you're adjusting being a parent, and then you make that adjustment, and that's it. There's a lot of other things like when you know along the journey where you're gonna have to continue to keep adjusting. The older he gets, the bigger he gets, the more he gets into things. So so it's a lot of things that you gotta continue to be up on and learn as you're going through that first year. And even after this year, there's gonna be a lot of other things that um, that I'm gonna be having to adjust to moving forward, especially of now being a father of two under two now. All right, so so yeah, three of the main things that I've learned. Um, Three of the main things that I've learned, I'll share with you guys the three main ones. The first one for me would be first thing that I learned was how to balance my time better. Um, Before I had a kid, before I was a father, there was there was certain times in the day that I didn't take full advantage of, and I felt like, and now looking back at it, I feel like I could have done a lot more different things. I had a lot of time available to myself that I didn't really maximize. And then now becoming a father, that time that I did have that I didn't utilize is now gone because now it's to all that time that I did have is given to my son. Most of it, most of it. All right. So I learned more how to balance my time, uh, my time as a father. Just uh, being more organized when it comes to my time. Uh, so I've talked about time a lot too in previous videos. So definitely, um, one thing that I learned how to do is just how to balance my time better than what I was, uh, to get done the certain things I need to get done, and then some things that are not really things that I need to be worried about. Don't worry about that stuff. Take care of the main things that I need to take care of. So balancing my time uh, better was definitely one thing that I did learn. And I'm still getting better with it. Trust me, y'all. I ain't time management expert. Trust and believe I'm not. And it's hard to be when you have kids anyway. So still learning with that. But that's one. Number two, um, I learned how to deal with my stress a little bit better. Um, how to relieve my stress more. Uh, Before, when it came to stress for me, sometimes for the most part, I would just try to I would just ignore it. I wouldn't really, you know, sit down and process uh, my stress level or why I felt this way, all of this stuff. I didn't really process it like that for real. But now, when once I became a father, I started doing a little bit more research um, on how to relieve my stress, and I did a video about it, y'all. I did a video about it on my YouTube channel, so make sure you guys check that out. How to relieve stress. It's a good video. It's a good video. Make sure you go back. I'll leave a link to the video in the description below. All right, so you guys can check that out. But how to relieve my stress? Just certain things. Just like having somebody you can confide in, like a therapist, or a life coach, certain people in your life, things like that that you can kind of you can get some things off. There's multiple different things. You gotta check the video out, you'll see. But I learned a lot on how to relieve my stress and to deal with stress a little bit better, which I feel like as fathers we need that. We need that because when you're in this journey of fatherhood, there's going to be those times where you're going to have those stressful moments, and we got to learn how to deal with that stress when those stressful moments arise, and how to handle those and relieve those. So definitely looking up. I would suggest to the first time fathers definitely looking up different ways to relieve your stress. All right. So that was the second, number two. And the third one for me, and that I've learned, is that your as a father, as a parent, your worrisome level increases. That's one thing that I'll say I've learned the first year of fatherhood. Just the worrisome level for me. This first year, just really right now, in the moment, as a parent, you worry about the small things, making sure that your kid is eating enough, making sure your kid doesn't have a fever, making sure that he's not getting into something where he can hurt himself, or putting his finger in the socket, an electrical socket, making sure he don't electrocute himself. Did you got those things like that you worry about him falling or hitting his head? Small things, just those things, that small things that I didn't have to worry about when I did not have kids. All right. And then also, those are some of the small things that I deal with now currently as a father, but also thinking about the stuff that I'm gonna have to really focus on and really try to and be worried about when he gets older. When he gets older, just in this day and age, you got kids dealing with cyberbullying. You got kids dealing with getting teased at school. You got kids dealing with their emotions, when they're younger. Just a lot of different things you got to deal with once they get older. So you gotta. So I worry about those things, and then also, even when my son wasn't born yet, and I knew that he was coming in the year 2020. We all know that year, that 2020 year was a lot for all of us. Dealing with the pandemic. Dealing with the murder of George Floyd and the marches and things like that. Especially as a black father, in this time, you gotta. So I'm worried about doing that. My wife's pregnant. I'm worrying about stuff like I gotta show my son down the line how to deal with a police officer that may be harassing him, or dealing with racism. Certain things that I gotta teach him that some other parents may have to teach their kids. So worrying about things like that when he gets older, and him staying, and worrying about also him being around the right people, making sure he ain't getting caught up in no mess or no nonsense, things like that. That I really think about. I don't want him being caught up in no stupid craziness, to where he can find himself in jail or dead. A lot of that stuff runs through my mind as a father, and I feel like that worrisome level that I didn't have when I didn't have kids. My dad always told me, your parents always tell you, they'll say, when you get older and you start having kids, you'll see what we talking about. You're gonna see when you have kids. A lot of us have heard that story from our parents, and now me being a parent, I really truly understand what they're saying, and I haven't even gotten to those levels yet, as a father, but still, that worrisome level, man. That's one thing that I'm like, I didn't think that it would be as high as it is. So yeah, it's but to wrap that up, those are the three main things for me that I've learned But there's a lot of other different things that I've learned, made mistakes on, messed up on, but I've gotten better at. Like I said, as a father, man, I've only been a father for what, 14 months. So there's a lot more that I've got to learn along the way. Um, but definitely more room to improve, and I will. But family, I think that wraps up um, the video, first video of 2022 for the Father Fam, y'all. But like I said earlier on, y'all, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you guys do that right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button as well. Hit that like button and share. Share this video. Let's get it out to as many people that we possibly can, y'all. Um, and we'll end it how we always do. All right. Ride or dies, you already know the saying. Newcomers, just follow along, and you guys gonna get it. All right. But the saying that I always end with is: be blessed, be great, be you. Nobody is better at being you than you. All right. Um, but like I said, that wraps up this episode of the Father Fam. See you guys on the next video. Like I said, we got a lot coming for 2022. So stay tuned. All right. We out. Deuces. Peace.